Hello, it's Ryan with Outer Market Reviews. Today I'm recording from inside a hotel, so I'm going to forego my traditional introduction and we'll go right into the review. Hope you guys enjoy it, and as always, please give me a like and a subscribe as well as leaving a comment if you like my work. Thank you. The Omega Seamaster Diver 300M is a watch with a name nearly as long as its reference number. Like most of you, I first became aware of this watch from the James Bond 007 series. And to start the story of the watch, it's impossible to not mention James Bond. The current collaboration as we know it today between the 007 series and Omega began with GoldenEye with Pierce Brosnan. He was seen wearing the blue Omega Seamaster, and the costume designer at the time mentioned that this was probably the most appropriate watch that she could see for a naval officer, of course James Bond being a naval intelligence officer. In the most recent James Bond movies, we can see a lot more of the planet Ocean versus the Diver 300M. However, because it was the watch that introduced Omega into the world of Bond, I feel that that is the spiritual watch, which to me most closely ties into the series. Additionally, Omega does have the new 007 Special Edition watch, which I think just further emphasizes the fact that the relationship between the watch and the character is stronger than ever. The watch I'll be reviewing today is the classic black ceramic edition. These are the current specifications from Omega's website in the bottom right there. I'm not going to bother reading off the reference number because I don't want to take up 5 minutes, but you get an idea of what I'm going for. Like all the watches, this is something I've purchased out of my own pocket with my own money, so you have no worries about impartiality of my reviews. On wrist, there is definitely no doubting that this is a large watch. It sits around 42 millimeters, and you definitely notice it. It is rather heavy as well. It's nowhere near as heavy as something like the Breitling Avenger Seawolf I've had, but it's definitely not a dainty watch. It's definitely tough. Perhaps the most striking aspect of the watch is going to be the dial. It features the beautiful wave pattern which was foregone in the intermediate versions but brought back through ceramic. Additionally, they've added beautiful applied markers. Now this is my first time dealing with macro shots, and I think they really bring out the quality and craftsmanship that Omega can produce. Overall, I'm very impressed. The dial of the watch is kind of like taking the subway for the first time. It might appear daunting at first and slightly confusing, but after you kind of just take a second and digest it, it really does make sense. It's not overcluttered, and there is some method to the madness. Here on the Omega, we do see that we have some red markings on the Seamaster logo, which I think is rather nice, as well as the coaxial master chronometer rating down towards the bottom. It's not overcluttered. I think it tells probably a little bit more than you need, but we're talking about a watch that has waves engraved into the dial. It's not exactly going to be understated. However, I do like it. I think it's very well done. So when I was first getting into the watch, I kind of was off-put by the skeletonized hands. I wasn't exactly sure if I liked them or not. However, if you look back at some of the older Omega Seamasters from the late 80s, they did have solid hands, and kind of seeing that compared to the skeletonized hands, I must say I really do prefer these. I don't think they're the prettiest thing out there, but I don't dislike them either. They add a new degree of nuance to the watch that I think something would be missing if they were filled in all the way. I do also appreciate the irony in what I just said. The fact the watch is missing something, i.e. the metal inside the hands, gives it something that it would not have if the metal was inside the hands. I think that's kind of weird and maybe poetic, I don't know. Maybe I'm just going down a rabbit hole here, but I think it's pretty cool nonetheless. It's one of those things kind of like the helium escape valve at the 10 o'clock. A lot of people might not like it, but also those people don't own the watch. And at this point, I think that these features are things that add a character and a recognizability to the watch that you would not have otherwise. I mean, God forbid it goes down the rabbit hole of looking something like just another Submariner homage. We don't need that. We want something with character, something different. So speaking of something different, I do kind of like this tank track bracelet. I think it has good articulation. It's definitely chunky, a little bit heavy, but it's not bad. The clasp I think is fantastic. It does feature slide adjustments, which, you know, after recently getting a couple of watches with that, it's not something you really want to go without once you've had it. Really nicely well executed clasp, I'm happy with that. Not exactly sure how many millimeters of on-the-fly adjustment you get out of it, but I do know that it makes the watch definitely more comfortable than it would be without, and with its given weight, if you weren't able to shack down just a perfect fitting, it kind of would ruin the watch, and I think this really helps make it everyday wearable. Looking at the back of the watch, we have this beautiful Omega Master Chronometer coaxial escapement with the caliber 8800 movement. I think it's just an incredibly well done watch. The machining, the work that's done on the rotor, very, very impressive. It's kind of a shame that you have to hide it on the other side of the watch that you're not staring at all day, because it really does look that good. I've also found that thanks to a lot of the work Omega does with getting it regulated, I'm talking this watch has a deviation of maybe 1 or 2 seconds a day. It's just been probably the most accurate watch I've owned so far. Definitely neck and neck with the Rolex Oyster Perpetual I have. It's just been fantastic. Moving on to the bezel, I think it's very nice as well. You do have the beautiful ceramic with what I believe is lacquer filled. Someone just leave a comment if I'm wrong on that, but that's what it looks like. Some people have kind of dinged the watch in the past for not, twisting easily. I haven't really found any grip issues. I don't know. Not wanting to say people have dainty fingers, but it's not the easiest thing to grip, but you definitely rotate it. I don't think I'm going to have any issue with that. And then just finishing up some of the beautiful just machining work on the overall exterior. You have the signed crown, you do have beautiful solid end links. Just really one of those watches that kind of every time I look at it, there's something new I pick up on. And then once again, the dreaded helium escape crown with the red safety marking there in case you leave it open. It does hold 50 meters of water resistance though if you do leave it open. And then lastly, we're just looking at the lume. Very impressive lume, two-tone. I think it's definitely more than substantial, and you'll be able to see time at night. I mean, what more do you want out of the lume? It's good stuff. So overall, these are kind of just my first impressions of the watch. I only got it a few weeks ago. I'm going to be wearing it nonstop for the next few months. Additionally, I'm probably going to not be able to produce the same quantity of videos I have been doing. I'm going to be away for work for quite some time. However, when I return, I do look forward to giving you guys my thoughts on what I think of this watch, and then also finally getting the Oyster Perpetual I have reviewed as well. As always, please leave a comment, like, subscribe if you can, and let me know how you think I did on this one. Alright guys, hope you all stay healthy. Take care now.